quick video about rep ranges. This is something. There are many videos on YouTube talking about rep ranges. It's easy to find videos and people speaking about rep ranges. And this is a question that people always ask. Oh, what is the best rep range for muscle growth? But here's the thing. You can go ahead and you could suggest a particular rep range for muscle growth, or you can go the other route and train all rep ranges. Why should you train all rep ranges? Now, different rep ranges will require different load. The different load is going to work different muscle fibers, different motor units. For example, if you, let's say you were to lift your 90% weight, which will give you reps of 3. For example, you pick a weight that will give you 3 reps. Now those reps, 1 to 3 reps, that weight that you pick there will mostly activate the high threshold motor units. That weight is still going to activate, is still going to recruit those low threshold, those type 1 fibers along with the type 2, but they're mostly going to use the type 2 muscle fiber, the type 2A and the type 2X muscle fiber. Those are your fast twitch. Those are required for moving heavy weights and to be explosive. So let's say you pick the 3 rep. You're going to use those muscles primarily. You're going to exhaust, let's say you pick the 3 rep and you go to failure. You're going to exhaust those muscle fibers. However, the slow twitch or the type 1, they're not going to be exhausted even though they were involved in the movement. So that's why they would tell you to train, or for strength, train the 1 to 3 rep range, even to 5. Why is that? Because you're going to be challenging those muscle fibers. And why is it they would say not to use those for hypertrophy? The reason for that is that if, let's say, you're training only from the 1 to 3 to 5 rep range, you're going to only hypertrophy and grow those muscle fibers, which, if you're trying to get big as possible, trying to look aesthetic as possible, it's not optimal, it's not best. So what do? You train all rep ranges. So let's say you, as I said, you pick the 1 to 3 to 5 rep range weight. You're going to train those particular muscle fibers. Yes, you're going to, as I said, you're going to still stimulate those lower threshold, but they're not going to be stimulated optimally at their best. So what you do, you choose from 6 to 8 or 6 to 9, you do that sometime, and you're going to target primarily those muscle fibers. The muscle fibers are going to help you move a weight that the load would give you 6 to 9 rep range, and also the lower threshold below those. Same thing, you also want to train your 10 to 12 and even higher. Even though it is shown that the higher threshold muscles are the ones that would hypertrophy or grow the most, you still want, if you want to optimize to make the best gains as possible, you're going to need to grow all of the muscle fibers. That's, you get a more full look. You prevent plateauing as well. You build those muscle fibers up because they are also contributing in moving heavy weights. That's why people, when they do 3 rep, 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep alone, they plateau quick. Why is that? Because they're not training that slow twitch. That slow twitch would help them to move that weight. So that whole confusion about rep ranges, it's simple. It's very simple. Train all rep ranges. And yet you might wonder, oh, let's say, for example, how often should I train these rep ranges? How often should I switch, whatever? Rotate it on a weekly basis, from a session to session basis. One session you might do 1 to 5 rep range, next session you might do 5 to 10, next session might be 10 to 15. You might worry that would that impact my frequency in terms of doing the 1 to 5 rep range? Not necessarily, because there is the law that is known as the Henneman size principle. So let's say you are doing 10 to 15 rep range and you're going pretty close to failure, 3 to 2 to 1 rep before failure or even failure, you're still going to recruit those high threshold fibers. So you're still going to get your frequency. Though you might not get that frequent activation, neurological activation of these muscle fiber by lifting heavy weights, because that is a pattern, that is a neurological pattern that you get when you're only going to get when you train with heavy weights. But that's why you rotate. You choose, you rotate the rep ranges. You work from your 1 to your 10s to your 15 rep ranges. So don't get caught up with the whole confusion. Just rotate your rep ranges, choose different rep ranges. So keep it simple.